I have a limited amount of time to play video games, and for me, that time is about relaxing, about being rewarded, not being punished. I've never understood the appeal of bashing your head against a boss for 6 hours straight. It's frustrating, it feels disrespectful of my time, and honestly, it's just not fun. So believe me when I tell you, no one is more surprised than I am that one of the hardest games I've ever played is also one of the best. I'm talking, of course, about Hollow Knight's Silksong. And if you thought the first game was tough, this one makes Hollow Nest look like a walk in the park. I sank dozens of hours into this game so far, hours filled with failure, with repetition, with moments where I wanted to throw my controller. Normally I would have moved on by now, but with this game I've kept going. So why do I keep coming back? Because somewhere along the way I realized the game wasn't punishing me. It was teaching me, and it was leading me to one of the most profound experiences I've ever had in gaming. There's a psychological concept called flow state. You've probably felt it before. It's when you're so absorbed in an activity that time seems to disappear. You're completely focused, operating at the peak of your abilities. To get there, the challenge you're facing has to be in perfect balance with your skill level. If the challenge is too low, you get bored. If it's too high, you get anxious and frustrated. Most games try to keep you comfortably in that flow channel, but Silksong does something different. Its difficulty is so high that it forces you to live in that anxiety zone. You start out completely outmatched. But that immense pressure does something incredible. It forces you to focus, to learn, to elevate your own skill far beyond what you thought was possible. When your skill finally rises to meet that monumental challenge, the breakthrough isn't just flow, it's a euphoric, adrenaline-fueled state of hyper-awareness. And that feeling is absolutely addicting. It's made me realize that all flow states are not the same, and games like Silksong can push you into a much more satisfying zone. One of my favorite movies growing up was Troy. In the Iliad, Achilles' fighting style was said to resemble dancing. In the movie, this was showcased brilliantly. It makes me wonder, being immortal, aside from having his weak spot, how many bad fights did he have? How hard did he have to fight to get so good? I think we just accept that Achilles is amazing at fighting and leave it at that, but if you think about it, if you can't die, then each failure isn't fatal. And what would that do to his skill level? It would be kind of like getting good at a video game. I bring this up because the strangest thing happened to me after I was looking back at the footage I had been recording of my boss fights. My first attempts were clumsy, panicked, and chaotic, but by the time I was finally able to defeat the boss, I barely recognized the gameplay. Those final runs, they weren't fights. They were dances. That's the moment it clicked for me. The bosses in Silksong aren't just obstacles. They're your dance partners. The game is teaching you a deadly choreography. At first you're stepping on their toes, missing every cue. But after hours of practice, you know the routine by heart. You anticipate every step, every strike, every leap. And you perform your part of the duet flawlessly. Now this experience would just be frustrating if the game wasn't built on a foundation of absolute fairness. The dance is only possible because of the meticulous design. First, the controls are practically perfect. Hornet does exactly what you tell her to the instant you tell her to do it. There's no input lag, no floatiness. When you get hit, it's your fault. You have near total agency, and I say near because it would be nice to attack directly below you, but even then I kind of like that. Sometimes limitations are good. Second, the enemies telegraph everything. The game isn't just testing your reaction speed, it's testing your knowledge and your discipline. It's showing you the dance steps and asking you if you were paying attention. And finally, victory is based on skill. You win because you've mastered the choreography. You earned it. And that makes the victory more meaningful than any I've experienced in a long, long time. And this is where Silksong elevates itself beyond the first masterpiece. at least so far of what I've played. The knight in Hollow Knight was nimble, but Hornet is a blur. She's faster, more acrobatic, and her toolset is built around momentum and aerial prowess. This changes the entire nature of the dance. The choreography is more complex, the tempo is faster. The game isn't just asking you to be precise, it's demanding a level of fluid performance that is on another level. The difficulty doesn't come from simply giving bosses more health, it comes from raising the skill ceiling for you, the player. It asks more of you, and in doing so, it offers a far greater reward. I still don't have a lot of time for games. I still don't like games that feel punishing just for the sake of it. But I will always make time for a game like Silksong, because it taught me that the reward isn't the victory screen. The reward is the mastery you gain, the skill you build, the person you have to become to succeed. It's a genuine sense of accomplishment that sticks with you long after the credits roll. Or so I imagine. I haven't exactly finished the game yet, in fact, I've got quite a long ways to go. Like I mentioned before, my time is limited, and I'm not sure that I'll be able to dedicate the time needed to beat this thing. But this game makes me wish I did, because now I understand the true allure of its challenge. But what do you think? I think it's fair if you don't feel this way, if you feel like I usually do towards games. And I can't even say with 100% certainty that my attitude towards the game so far wouldn't change or may not change the further I get into this. But I've played enough of it to realize that as frustrating as the challenge is, the more you master it, the more great the experience is. I imagine the challenges are just going to get really intense. And I only imagine the sensation of beating it is even that much better than what I've mentioned here. It's truly something else. But I think it's fine not to feel the same way I do towards this. And I think there's something to be said about the difficulty in games and accessibility. And that, of course, is another conversation. One that I may have to talk about on another time. But anyway, thanks for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments below.